I beg to move that this House has considered the importance of Lesbian Visibility Week and believes that LGBTQIA plus women and non-binary people should be recognised for the work that they do and the joy that they bring. Lesbian Visibility Week originated in 1990 and has been given life and observed annually in the UK since 2019, enabled by my good friend and ex-publisher of Diva magazine, Linda Riley. I'm so pleased that we're here, once again acknowledging its importance here in Parliament that boasts the largest number of openly lesbian, bisexual and gay women MPs in history. Maureen Colquhoun, the first openly lesbian MP, was elected 51 years ago, but was deselected by her local party the year she came out. A stark reminder of the struggles faced by lesbian politicians. It took another 23 years for there to be another openly lesbian MP. Thankfully, there are now a lot more of us, including some of my brilliant colleagues who will be speaking here today. Lesbian and gay women face intersecting discrimination based on their gender and sexuality. And of course, people of colour and lesbians with disabilities also face unique challenges and discrimination due to intersecting identities. While it's crucial to address these challenges, it's equally important to celebrate the significant contributions lesbians make in fostering solidarity and sisterhood within their communities. Lesbian women have and will always play a pivotal role not only in supporting each other but also in leading and strengthening the broader women's and LGBT plus rights movements. For the past 5 years, we have set aside this week in April to celebrate and uplift lesbians everywhere from all backgrounds and all walks of life. And we are a community that grows stronger each and every year for it. This year, the theme is celebrating rainbow families, focusing on LGBT plus women and non-binary people's families, recognising the importance of all family structures. On Tuesday night, I was proud to host the second annual parliamentary launch of Lesbian Visibility Week. At the event, London Women's Clinic launched their new IVF Equality Manifesto. As a mum of 2 wonderful boys, one of whom was conceived through IVF, this is a subject close to my heart. Everyone deserves the chance to start a family, no matter their sexuality or gender identity. It was around 16 years ago that I started the IVF process as part of a same-sex couple. At that time, we went through unnecessary procedures, a long waiting list and significant costs. But despite the hurdles, it was achievable, and my wonderful youngest son is now 14. Since the IVF journey I was part of, the hurdles LGBT plus couples have to jump through have increased, with a fragmented NHS meaning a postcode lottery in provision, and the financial cost is significantly higher. The event was attended by many MPs and guests, and I want to thank everyone who came, and I particularly want to thank the Minister for Equalities for attending and speaking and for responding to this event today, as well as Divas Linda Riley and Anya Sizer from the London Women's Clinic for their speeches. It's disappointing that despite multiple promises, there remains far too many unnecessary financial and practical barriers for same-sex couples and a postcode lottery on IVF. And I've written to the Secretary of State and ministers on this on a number of occasions, and I will keep fighting until all barriers are removed. I've dedicated most of my political career to campaigning for LGBTQIA plus equality. My first political activism was campaigning against Section 28 and highlighting the damage that it did and continues to do to our community. Section 28 was intended to silence discussion of lesbians and gays. It failed. It united and it energised our communities. I will give way. I
I'd like to thank my honourable friend for securing this important debate. And like her, my first political activism was campaigning against Section 28. And it's what made me join this wonderful party. And I feel truly supported by her and by my other lesbian colleagues in this place. But it was that rhetoric and those comments that our relationships and our families were somehow pretend family relationships that was so hurtful. And does she agree with me that we need to safeguard now against the risks of the rhetoric about trans people making the same sort of harm to them as it did to us in the 1980s?
I thank my honourable friend for her intervention, and I absolutely agree, and I will be touching on some of that later in my contribution. But we know that as a community we are always stronger when we are together, and we will always have tea as part of the LGBT community. With the global attacks on our LGBT plus community, we need to find that fighting spirit again. These attacks on our community didn't just start happening again. They were driven by far-right money from America, by hate in this country and globally, from the media, and yes, politicians who should know better, continuing to demonise the LGBT plus community. Last year, I spoke about the increase to lesbophobia and that I had faced, from being called a rug muncher to being called a nonce, and having pride flags in my hometown of Hebburn ripped down. We've seen a rise in hate crime, and we must make active efforts to support our non-binary and trans community who still face unique day-to-day challenges for simply being themselves and loving who they love. Under current hate crime legislation, hate crimes based on race or religion can have a greater penalty because they are classified as aggravated offences. Our manifesto committed to ensuring that hate crime based on sexual orientation, gender identity and/or disability were also classified as aggravated offences. And I look forward to hearing from the Minister on moves for that to happen. I sit on the Council of Europe and their Equalities Committee, and part of my brief is reporting on the ban on so-called conversion practices across Europe. As part of that, I have to visit and speak to other countries about their existing legislation. One country was Italy. Outrageously, the official visit request was rejected. And I was unofficially told it's because we do not want more of your finger-wagging critique. Thankfully, the very nice Maltese government have offered us a visit instead. Just last month, as I got off a train at King's Cross, I was verbally abused by a man shouting at me that I'm obviously a lesbian, a sexual deviant, and I'm going to hell. I'm frequently misgendered, and I do not mean occasionally. It's a weekly occurrence. In January, I was misgendered 3 times in one 2-hour train journey. I've been misgendered by staff of this house, misgendered by buying some jeans last week. It's genuinely a frequent issue for me and a number of my lesbian friends. I note the ministers yesterday saying that there will be guidance regarding the Supreme Court verdict, but actually that decision will have a huge impact on my life and many other cis lesbians and indeed heterosexual women. I suspect I will get challenged even more now when accessing facilities. And whilst the impact on my life will be problematic, the impact on my trans siblings' lives is going to be significantly worse.
Will she give way?
I will give way.
Can I thank my honourable friend for giving way and for securing this debate? I know that she has spoken very passionately about these issues over many decades, and I know, like me, she will have received lots of correspondence from concerned trans and LGBT plus constituents over the last few days. But does she agree with me that it's for the Labour government to get on with advancing the LGBT rights that we had in the manifesto, things like the trans-inclusive conversion therapy ban, and also modernisation of the Gender Recognition Act and also making LGBT hate crime an aggravated offence.
I thank my honourable friend for his intervention, and yes, I believe that only now with a Labour government will we see the continued advancements of LGBT rights, as indeed we have in the past. Whilst we're on that judgment, let me just say that that judgment doesn't offer clarity. I believe it has sown division and caused contradictions in legislation. This ruling was made without a single contribution from trans people and leaves them legally and practically at a huge disadvantage. I believe this judgment raises many more questions than answers, and I will be writing to the Secretary of State to set that out. As a woman, as a lesbian, as a feminist, as a proud dyke, the Supreme Court judgment for me is a step backwards. The court should not be telling me what a lesbian is or isn't, or how I should identify. We need empathy in finding ways to support and let everyone live their own lives. Of course, we need to protect single-sex spaces in the very limited situations that they are needed, which is and was already covered in legislation and has never been disputed, whilst maintaining clear protections for trans people, especially trans women. To see an already marginalised community attacked even more and the use of the law to increase discrimination, not prevent it, is deeply upsetting. Those celebrating the impact this decision has on trans women, curtailing their protections, should not be surprised when the same people that funded and supported their attacks then push for rights to be rolled back for all women. Research from Just Like Us clearly highlights that young lesbians are more supportive of the trans community than any other part of the LGBTQIA+ community. They are most likely to know a trans person, 92%, and most likely to say they are supportive or very supportive of trans people, 96%. I will give way.
My honourable friend for giving way, and I pay tribute to her securing this debate. I wanted particularly, in the light of what my honourable friend talks about with young lesbians, champion the work of the Schools Out organisation, which is led and founded by one of my constituents, Sue Sanders. That educates people in school about the importance of LGBT diversity, and challenges prejudice at exactly the important moment in young people's lives when they will be exploring who they may want to be as they grow older, and increases the tolerance and respect that everybody deserves.
I thank my honourable friend for her intervention, and I think, like in so many other ways, young people often can teach us a lesson or two, and I'm very pleased to hear her reference Sue Sanders, as I did in my speech last year, and all the great work that she's done over the years with Schools Out and indeed across the whole of our movement. Contrary to the narrative that is being heard at the moment, most heterosexual women also agree. We need to be clear that lesbophobia, homophobia and transphobia are driven by attacks from a far-right hateful minority. Feminism has to be intersectional, recognising that all women, including trans women, deserve the same rights, safety and respect. I want to thank the Minister for giving up her time today and for all her work. Having an out lesbian minister responding to a debate on Lesbian Visibility Week is something that I think we can all be very proud of. Thank you. Can I first of all thank all who spoke here, who ensured that they did so with respect and care. I want to thank the Honourable Member from Tipton and Wednesbury for sharing her proud lesbian mama status and for her commitment to fight for equal access to IVF and highlighting the local impact of the postcode lottery infertility treatment. And I'm sure we'll continue to fight that together in this place. I don't have time to thank everybody as much as I would like to, but I'd like to thank those from the opposition benches, in particular the Right Honourable Member for Glastonbury and Somerset, for highlighting the legend and legacy of Jackie Foster and her contribution on global hate crime and the stress that our communities face. Somehow we've never bumped into each other in any of those bars that you mentioned. We must try harder to do that. And she's quite right, we need more lesbian bars and lesbian spaces. I'd like to thank the Opposition Minister for her words. My Uncle Frank and my dad will be absolutely delighted that she mentioned them today. He wants recognition for his 50 years as a councillor, and I hope that this goes some way to doing that. I agree that we will all be looking very closely at the NICE guidelines when they're brought forward. This debate has indeed been a lot less heated, which is to be welcomed, and I hope that continues going forward and politicians of all stripes stop using our community as a political football. Can I thank the Minister for all the work that she has and continues to do, for her kind words and for her commitment to take away the many asks from this debate. Can I thank you, Ms Butler, for your expert chairmanship, and I hope to be here in front of you another time in the future. By our visibility and contributions today, we give hope and encouragement to lesbians who are not yet in a position to be out and proud, or who are at the start of their journey. Our hard-fought rights are under attack, and we must defend them. I want to end by wishing all lesbians who work in this House and all lesbians globally a very happy Lesbian Visibility Week. Thank you.